Alright, good evening traders and developers. Stanton here from AlgoTrading. Um, Tonight we're going to talk about how to trade Bitcoin or, all your favorite cryptocurrencies on either MT4 or MT5. Now there's various ways that you could do this, and we're going to discuss each one of those ways and tell you about the pros and cons of each one. And now the first way of doing this is through a FX broker. Now a lot of FX brokers today are adopting the trading of cryptocurrencies. And some of them are really good. Some of them allow you to trade in Bitcoin. Some of them allow you to deposit Bitcoin. But generally, you'll be using fiat currency to trade cryptocurrencies. So now I'm with AlgoTrade. AlgoTrade is an excellent broker. The links for AlgoTrade are down below in my description. Now they've recently started opening up crypto trading. So now if you go into the symbols list, you see they've got quite a nice list of, I'm not going to go through all of them, but you can see there's a nice mix of tokens that you could trade using MT5. And the positive of this is that you get to use MT5. I'm really love MT5. The optimization, the testing is amazing. You can really build good EAs, multiple time frames. It's exceptional, MT5. Way beyond what the capabilities of MT4 are. But there are a few drawbacks of using FX broker. Firstly, I don't think you're trading on the actual exchange itself. I think you're trading the CFDs. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe someone could correct me. And another drawback is, let me just open up this Bitcoin chart, is this high spread. If you could see here, this is the ask price. So if I had to go into long now, it would enter the trade here when the price is down there. And if I use my ruler, you could see there that is like almost 4,000 points spread, which is incredibly high spread. And I think that might be the case with most FX brokers because it's a very volatile asset, and on volatile assets the spreads are normally quite high. And then also this is while the market's open. You'll see once the market closed, the spread will increase, which makes it very difficult for shorter time frame trading, scalping, any sort of like high frequency trading, things like that. But if you want to have a long-term sort of like trend following strategy or long-term strategy that could trade, hold your trades for a couple of days, then it really doesn't make that much of a difference. Look, you're starting at a little bit of a loss, but if it's a holding strategy, it shouldn't really make a difference. So if you look at the 1 hour chart, it's not that terrible. And if you look at the daily chart, it's very negligible. So if you're making a trade where you go up to the support area, you sell, come back down, it's not going to make too much of a difference. But for shorter time frames, it is detrimental. It will really hurt your profits if you're using automated trading on the shorter time frames. And also, I would stick to the big caps, so your Bitcoins, your Ethereums, things like that. I wouldn't trade your small caps using your FX brokers. So if you look here at Shiba, I'm just going to open a chart. I might have one open here. You can see it's very barcodey. So trading that with the algorithm is not going to work out very well. If you go to the high time frames, maybe in the daily time frames, it's a little better. Let's have a look at the spread on this. Yeah, spread's also quite high. If you go back to the 1 minute chart, you can't trade that with an algo. So it's not live prices. It looks like it's open prices, closed prices, and it looks like it's CFD price. It doesn't look like the exchange price. If you had to compare this to something on BYBIT, you'll see it's completely different. Okay, so that is FX brokers. The next option is using the brokers APIs. So you trade on MT5 or MT4, and you actually use the brokers APIs. So if you go to a site that's mql5.com, which is the authority on MetaTrader, anything you want to know about MetaTrader will be available on this site. And I just do a quick search for Binance. You see there's quite a few Binance libraries, Binance integration libraries, spot library, future libraries, links to Binance. Essentially what you're doing is that you you establishing your conditions in MetaTrader, and then you're sending a trade through the API to Binance. And I think that is just like, if you look at this documentation for the API, or for this library that this guy's built for MT5, it's extremely complicated to use. So I wouldn't go this route. I think it's just way too much work to get started, and especially if you're just getting into algo trading, it's way too advanced to start with something like this. So it is an option for more experienced traders, more experienced coders, but I wouldn't go with this to start with. Okay, the next option and the last option is actually using an exchange, a crypto exchange that has their own MT5 or MT4 terminals. Now, I've searched the internet. I cannot find an exchange that has MT5 terminal. But I was very, very pleasantly surprised to hear that my broker, or I found that my broker, which is BYBIT, has an MT4 terminal, which you actually trade using USDT. And so you could transfer your USDT into your MT4 account. There is a video on it. I'll put it in the description below. You could transfer your USDT into the MT4 account, and you could trade your currencies. One of the drawbacks, or two drawbacks actually, for this is that first, using MT4, so you're limited in your optimization and your testing. It's limited. It's extremely limited when it comes to testing, especially if you want to test on every tick. Whereas MT5 is multi-threaded, so you could actually, and you could use the MQR5 network to test, so you're using other people's computing power to test. MT4 doesn't have that, so if you want to run a million optimizations on every tick, it's going to take you a couple of days to run it, which is one of the drawbacks. So you need to code your EAs to control open close prices, and to be as simple as humanly possible. Don't mix time frames, don't do things like that. Just keep it simple, and it will work just fine. And I have written some really profitable EAs, just using simple entries, simple exits, and then controlling your opening and closing of your bar opening, because that's very important. You need to, if you're going to test on open prices only, you need to control your bar opening. Okay, so that is the one drawback, is that it's MT4. Second drawback, or on this broker, or I haven't found another broker that has sort of their own terminal, is you haven't got everything. You haven't got everything that's on the exchange. I mean, you've got a decent amount of cryptos to trade. You've got your big ones, you've got your Bitcoin, you've got your Ethereum, you've got some smaller caps or medium caps in Cardano, Matic, Sand, and you've got your small caps. So you've got a nice mix, but you just haven't got access to all of them. I mean, I would really like to trade Shiba on this, and we don't have access to it. So that's one of the drawbacks. Okay, so those are the various methods of trading Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies on MT5 or MT4. So let's recap. So on a foreign exchange or FX broker, you have that supports crypto trading. You have access to the cryptos, but I would only trade the large caps. I'll trade Ethereum or Bitcoin on the longer time frames. And secondly, using fiat currency. You can't transfer your USDT from wallet to wallet, so you're actually using fiat currency, which is another drawback. So if you want to stay in the blockchain, it's a drawback. Second, API route, I wouldn't go that route. I mean, if you're inclined to do so, go ahead, but I would not go that route. And third is probably the best route, is that you use BYBIT, or if anyone does know of another exchange that has their own MT4 or MT5 terminal, not a bridge or something like that, please let me know. I'll be very keen to check it out. But so far, the only one I've found is BYBIT, and this is probably the best option for trading all of your cryptocurrencies. If you if you want to trade just Bitcoin and Ethereum, an FS broker is fine. But if you want to trade more currencies and mix up your portfolio with the smaller caps and larger caps when it comes to algo trading, then the BYBIT route, or the cryptocurrency exchange with a MetaTrader terminal, is the best route. Alright, well, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, hit subscribe, hit the notifications, and remember, check out the descriptions below. I'll have links to go to AlgoTrade. I'll have links to my other videos where you can see how to set up a BYBIT MT4 account, and plus I'll put some other information in there as well. Right, have a good evening. Cheers.